think the number one thing I tell people is figure out who your audience is. So automatically everyone wants to say, I'm for everyone. You're not for everyone. McDonald's isn't even for everyone. You can distill it down, even if it's like, okay, we're just for women. Okay, great. That's a start. So you have to really distill it down. Who is your audience? What are they consuming? Like, what media are they consuming? What's their pain points?
How can you help us, though, continue to help you? First, please subscribe to the channel. Like us. If you listen to the audio version, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. If you see our posts, please share those posts, share the content, and link back to our law firm website, which helps us to continue our SEO marketing and grow our firm and help small business owners. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the show. I'm Mitch Beinhacker, your host. I always remind everybody, if you're listening on your favorite directory and you can leave a 5-star review, because I know you can't do that everywhere, please leave us one, support the show. We've been moving more and more over to YouTube and to video. So if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like the channel, so we can keep growing that channel, keep connecting with cool people like Melinda. And as I always say, maybe because I'm a paranoid attorney, if you are listening to us, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay? It's not a guarantee or advice of any kind or anything like that. So if you're making decisions based on anything Melinda says or anything I say, just because we're having a good conversation, you should still always check with local licensed professionals before making any decisions. So, Melinda, live from Raleigh, North Carolina, thanks for joining me this morning. I know it's been a little crazy.
Thanks for having me, Mitch.
No, I appreciate it. So why don't we go back into, your background, where you went to school, what you did for a while. Then we're going to get a lot into branding, the branding that you do, and brand management. I mentioned before, I think personal branding is very important. So I've talked about it before. So maybe you want to go backwards in the
Yeah, I'll give you my whole trauma dump, and then we'll talk about, what I do now. So I grew up in a town of 4,000 people in eastern North Carolina, and I'm the only person in my family that ever left. We've tracked the family back to like the 1700s, 1600s, and everyone has always been from that county, which is like kind of insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even my mom was adopted from another part of the state, and we tracked her family still back to our county, which is insane. So very long story short, I originally wanted to go to film school, and my parents said that girls don't do that. We don't know anybody that has ever worked in that. You can't do it. Meanwhile, at the time, they were filming Dawson's Creek in North Carolina. They were filming a lot of movies. They were starting on One Tree Hill. And,
I love One Tree Hill. Yeah. That was all in North Carolina? That was all shot down there?
Yeah.
Nice.
A ton of stuff is filmed here, even now. So my parents said, you have to go to Campbell University. That's where my dad went. That's where my brother went.
Okay.
It was in my same county. So all of my schooling was all within the same county from kindergarten through college.
So not only can you have to live there, but you got to get educated there. You can't go anywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
And so there were people I graduated college with that I went to kindergarten with, which is kind of insane.
That's crazy.
And not a lot of people can say that. Thankfully, Campbell's a great school. I was a communications major. I originally went in to be a teacher because my parents said you can be a teacher or a nurse. And I didn't know that I could have my own choice in the matter. So I go into college to be a cheerleader, and a lot of the girls on my squad at my university were communications majors. And I realized that's very close to film. I should do that. So I changed my major. My parents were supportive. I just said,
you could
it's like
major
marketing.
in cheerleading?
No, I was a cheerleader.
In your
I was
mind,
a cheerleader. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the cheerleaders were, I made the squad. I was very lucky to have been.
Does Campbell have a big cheering program? Like they compete nationally or something? You said it's a small Catholic
They do
school.
now. They do now. It's a very long story. We used to have a very solid basketball program. Michael Jordan actually used to teach at the basketball camp at Campbell every summer.
Right, because he went to crazy. UNC, right?
Yeah, so he was right down the road. So I cheered there. I changed my major to communication. My parents were okay with it because it was close to marketing, and they knew what that was. My parents are entrepreneurs, by the way. So my dad worked in finance and had a bunch of his own businesses. My mom owned a tax office chain that she grew to 20 offices by the time she sold.
Okay.
And grew up on a tobacco farm, 200-acre tobacco farm across the street from our house, my grandpa's farm. So very entrepreneurial family, very hardworking family. did not want me to go outside the norm. So when it was time for me to graduate college, my parents had started or opened a franchise for me and my brother of a restaurant. So Zaxby's, which is chicken here in the
Zaxby's.
South.
Yeah, I know Zaxby's. So,
Zaxby's, yeah.
so they bought a franchise location for
Franchise for
Zaxby's.
me and my brother, yeah, to do.
Nice
My
gift.
brother's
Okay.
2 years older than me. They were like,
Okay.
"This is going to be your legacy. This is your thing." My parents were already franchisees in other areas, so very long story
Was he
short,
a business major? Your brother too?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
him
So
and my
fine. So
dad
you have the
both, yeah,
background.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, um, and we had always worked for my parents in my mom's tax office, helping my dad flip houses on the
Oh, so
farm.
you knew entrepreneurial
Yeah,
kind of blood.
we were locked in. I mean, my mom opened the tax office when I was in kindergarten. So she said as soon as we could read, we had to work. So we had to help file things alphabetically for her, in the drawers and everything. So anyway, my parents opened our Zaxby's for us, and they said it was going to be mine and my brother's thing. I worked there for a year. I was about to graduate college, and I was like, I'm moving to Los Angeles. I want to work in
This
entertainment.
is
And
what year, Melinda?
2009.
Okay. So a while ago.
So
Okay.
yeah, so 2009, and my brother was the GM for the restaurants. We had to open 3 in 3 years, and we opened the first one. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm moving to Los Angeles. And so my parents said, we're going to cut you off if you leave.
Right.
And I was
Because
like,
you have a
bye.
development deal. You have to like open
Yeah,
locations
literally,
and right.
literally. And they were like, if you leave, you are done. And I was like, bye, I'm
You're
leaving. So I
kidding.
packed up my car the day after Christmas, 2009. Still in a recession, by the way. Horrible time to graduate college.
Yeah, right. That was right after all the real estate collapse happened.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
So
the
all my
short selling
friends
of everybody's
were
time.
just going into master's programs or going to law school instead of actually getting a job. And
Right.
I packed up my car. I moved to Los Angeles with $500, some gift cards from Christmas. My dad handed me $100 bills. I was pulling out of the driveway at 5 o'clock in the morning and said, "Don't tell your mom." And I moved to Los Angeles, and I
And
slept
they
on
were like,
someone's.
never talk to us again.
Well,
Like,
not never talk to us again. They were like, "We're not helping you. Like, we're done. You're done."
right.
I was off the phone plan. I was off the car insurance. I was off everything. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I know this is what I need to do. So I pulled out of the driveway, drove across the country, slept on someone's floor for 3 months, did 3 unpaid internships at once just to gain enough experience to get hired on full time somewhere. I coached
Okay.
cheerleading at a low income school. I worked at restaurants. I did every single thing I could just to survive.
Was this because you wanted to get into acting? Is that why you went to
No, I didn't even want to get into acting. I wanted to be an entertainment publicist. So
Okay. Okay. So you want to
I
get into
saw what
PR.
that was on TV, and that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to do. I wanted to work behind the scenes, and that's what I just started hustling. I worked for 3 different agencies at once, unpaid, and it took me a year and a half to get hired on somewhere full time. And I ended up staying in Los Angeles for 7 years. I worked with huge people. I did projects with Mel Gibson, Gene Simmons, Boys to Men. I have a Grammy. I have an Emmy. I'm halfway to an EGOT.
Nice.
It was the best time of my life. It was
Yeah.
great to be in my 20s in Los Angeles and doing this. But as you can imagine, I'm not making a lot of money at these
Right.
agencies.
Of course
I'm
not.
the low
PR, you
man
don't
on the
make money.
totem pole.
Right.
The people at the top are making the money, not me. We're paying for their Porsches,
Right. You're the worker
so
bee.
yeah, so I just got extremely burned out. My mental health was at a low. I just got hired on at my dream agency. I only lasted there about 4 months. It was a horrible situation. I was going to HR every day, like reporting my supervisor. And
You're
then finally
kidding.
she was like, I'm done with her. She's like, I'm done with Melinda. She's too much drama. So
Oh,
they were like, we realize you have been documenting things. Just sit tight for a little bit. We'll find a space for you in a couple of months, but you have to wait till the next quarter. And I was like, I'm done. I'm moving back to North Carolina. So after 7 years in Los Angeles, I moved back to North Carolina.
okay.
I immediately found a job in an advertising agency, being the PR and social media director.
Right. Well, you
It
had the
was,
resume at that point, right?
yeah. Well, and
Right.
that's another thing. No one in North Carolina understood that my skills could translate. Um, I just kept getting, we don't have entertainment clients. Click.
Right.
We're okay. Click. So
Right.
I finally got hired somewhere, and thankfully I had about a month. So I was transitioning from LA to North Carolina. So I was interviewing virtually. I got hired somewhere. Horrible 2 years. They were so far behind anything I had been doing in Los Angeles. They would not listen to me. It was older men.
Yeah.
it just wasn't fun.
It was
My
an
body,
advertising agency?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what do they call it? Like from the 60s, the old
Like
world.
Mad Men. They wanted
Mad
to be
Men,
Mad
right? That's
Men,
what I'm
but
thinking
it
of.
was
Yeah,
not, that was not it.
right,
I was just like, everything you're doing is so outdated. Like, this isn't
right.
revolutionary, but you're billing yourself as revolutionary. It's
And you were a
crazy.
publicist. Didn't have to be for entertainment clients. It could be, but it didn't have to be. You right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
PR is PR is PR. It's
right.
all the
Big
same
time.
thing.
Right.
So, yeah, after about 2 years there, I was like, screw this. I think I can just do this on my own. So I had a couple of freelance clients that were like $500 a piece. Like, it was literally tiny, but that gave me the courage to go out on my own. And the day I quit my job and told my parents I was quitting, they said, break your lease. You're moving back in with us. And I'm like, you guys are entrepreneurs. Like, you should be proud of me. And they
I
were
thought
like,
they said they weren't going to help you. Oh, you came back to
no,
North Carolina,
I
so now
came
they're going to
back.
help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So they were like, don't quit your job. You got to figure it out. We're not going to pay your rent. So you got to move in with us. And I was like, just wait a second. So after a month, I had enough money, or honestly, about a week or two, I had enough clients that covered that salary. Plus, I was still freelancing for the old agency. So about 2 months later, my dad realized how much money I was making. I was like, okay, you're good.
You're
So
good.
that was
So,
7 years ago.
okay, so Melinda, so let's stop for a second, right? Because you're now. It's not like you're leaving the agency with a big book of business.
Yeah.
And
I
you're going
had
to, right?
2 clients.
Right. That's what I mean. So tell me about, because everybody wants to know when they're an entrepreneur, like, what do you do day one? Like I mean, I guess it was good you were in North Carolina, right? Because now you're more where you're familiar, but you're also not in LA where there's a lot of custom, people to call on. So what did you do? Like how'd you get started? You said it was a very short period of time. You had clients. So
yeah. So thankfully, I'm one of those people that I collect people everywhere I go. I love networking. I have a lot of contacts.
Building
And
networks is what it's all about. Yep.
Yeah. So I was hustling from day one when I was back in North Carolina, if only just for my clients locally at the agency. So I started posting like that day, hey guys, I'm going to do this on my own until I find another job. If you have any clients to send my way, please let me know. And I got, I already had one client that was like $500. I had another one that I negotiated up to $1,500. So that was $2,000.
Was that per month or
per month? Per month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little cash flow. Okay.
Yeah. So PR is retainer based. Much like law is.
Right. It's a little hard to do it any other way.
Yeah, exactly. Because as you know, like sometimes it's hard to bill for an hour if you send one email and make something happen,
Exactly.
So, yeah, I just started posting online and I got a couple of little clients here and there and then, still freelancing for the agency. And honestly, I'm pretty sure they just paid me what my salary was. I don't think that it was like anything any different. So I was okay.
They just basically let you go out and start on your own and then also because they needed you to do work.
Yeah. Well, and it was under the guise of I'm going to work for you until you find someone to replace me. And that it was really for me, it was until I got enough clients to replace that money. And that only took about 2 months. And then
where were you posting in those days? 2009. So that's like 15 years ago.
I moved to LA in 2009.
Oh, right. Then 7 years we're going.
So then that was 2017, 2018, I guess, because I've had my company now for 7 years. So I was posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Facebook groups, PR groups, things like that.
It was like 2016 to something like that, 2018, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I was posting Facebook groups, LinkedIn, Twitter, anything. And honestly, to this day, I'd say 90% of my business is referral or people that just find me, which I'm very, very lucky. I don't even know how to do business development in that way of like going out and finding clients, but it's really all because I network so much and people know who I am. I'm transparent and my personal brand is tight. People understand what they're getting with me.
Of course. Well, look, and I'm very big on networking too. I have huge networks of people that I know from the podcast, from my work, from networking in my community, whatever, right? I do not know anybody who is really successful cold, like just from advertising. No. Like the world's a different place and you can't even build good relationships that way that stick. You know what I mean? Exactly. So, I get business. Sure, I get business through the internet. People Google me. They find my reviews, whatever. I would say that my closing ratio is much lower because they really have no connection to me. They weren't referred by you, right? And they say, well, if Melinda says Mitch is good, that's good enough for us, as opposed to saying, well, I read your reviews online, and then I give them a price and they're like, oh, you know what? And then maybe half of them, stick. But if I get referred business, 95% of them, they're just ready to get going. And
absolutely,
I think that's the only real way of, look, I even say for people, and my son right now is like, he's in tech. So he's like on his third layoff. They always have layoffs and stuff. You build a network even while you're working, right? And you build relationships with people. And then the moment you hit the street and you said, hey, I'm here. And then they're like, well, we've been waiting for this type of thing, And it is the right way to build a business. And I think people really overlook, and we're going to get into personal branding, which is definitely a big, component of that. People don't really realize, and I think people don't give themselves credit. They probably have bigger networks than they give themselves credit for, like anybody who really knows you. But I think people, maybe some of it's they're afraid, to deal with people that they know or whatever, but that's your village. That's your people, right? That's, you help them, they help you. And, networking is really what it's all about. You should not be building a business cold.
Yeah.
You almost did it in LA. You didn't know anybody. You went out there and you fought, and it was hard, right?
Yeah. I literally didn't know anybody. And I honestly went off of sheer stupidity and like intuition that I just knew that's where I needed to be. And I always say that the best times in my life are when I have just like adamantly defied my parents and just gone against what they've said, because they're trying to keep me safe. I understand that.
Of course. And that's how you learn and grow.
Yeah. But I'm like, look, you have to trust. And so I think networking is one of the best things you can do. And honestly, what you were saying about cold versus warm leads, that's something I tell my clients all the time now. So even when I'm doing PR for a product, I'm like, we have to have a founder story. We have to have a person. I don't care if it's the founder. I don't care if somebody's grandma. We have to connect someone to this brand, because people are so inundated right now. They need a person, a real thing to connect to, not just being sold something all the time.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think, credit to you, but a lot of people are not as resilient. They can't do what you did. They would have given up. It's too hard. And it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, looking back, you got to where you were for a lot of reasons, right? So it's all great. But I think you realized later on that you're like, listen, I'm going to start my own business. I have to know people, and I do. And I've been building networks because I thought it was important. I also think it's like a better way to do business and live your life, right? Who wants to do business with all kinds of people that don't know you and you don't know and you don't really have a lot of connection with? It's like, what's the point, right? People want to be connected. All right. So that was in, like you said, 16, 17, 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what does the business look like today? Like what are you, is it just you? You have people working for you?
Yeah. So I have a small team. I am kind of a control freak. So the thought of hiring someone full time and being in charge of their livelihood is terrifying to me. So I have paid interns. I fully believe in paying my interns, regardless of a legal whatever, because I didn't get paid as a real adult that was trying so hard to work in this industry.
It's common in your industry. They really do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I pay my interns. I have an assistant that works for me part-time, and I'm bringing on a business development person now. So I have a small team and freelancers that I can pull from whenever I need, a sister agency that's a marketing and design agency. So I have a community that I can pull from, but for the most part, it really is just me. And I like to have my hands on everything because I know how the client feels. They're investing a lot of money in me and they want me to do it. It's not like when I worked at these agencies where the founder would sell this new business and then never touch it until the client was up for a contract renewal. And then they go in and try to take all the credit for it, but it was really me doing the work.
Right. Yeah. So there's probably a happy medium somewhere in there, right? Because you can't keep doing it forever. I have the same problem as a lawyer, right? People hire the lawyer. They don't really hire the firm. So what's your, let's not call it an exit strategy, right? You're not going to set it up and leave. So what's the plan of your who's, because you really do have an organization, right? You have an assistant, you have these freelancers, you have other organizations you work with. That's great. How do you make that transition where you grow and you can't be the person doing all that stuff, right?
That's the pain point I'm in right now. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I keep saying, am I allowed to
Yeah.
cuss on this or no?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay. So I always have to ask.
No,
But
yeah.
I keep saying this is my shit or get off the pot year. And I don't mean
Yeah,
that as in like I'm going to like quit my business, but it's
right.
like I have to do something because I am bleeding out of my eyeballs at this point,
Yeah, well,
working
I mean,
12-hour
you
days.
got to the right level, right? But you can't, yeah, you just can't.
Yeah.
That's not a good quality
And
of life either.
yeah, so I'm trying to get to a place where I can maybe bring on one full-time person, even if it's just an account manager, so they can do the day-to-day and I can do the more high-level stuff. And
Right.
ultimately, I would love to get to a place where I feel really comfortable bringing on other team members that are full-time, and then I really just oversee and do consulting. So I want to get to a place where I'm not sending the emails all day, every day. I am consulting the clients, or I'm consulting these bigger brands and making a ton of money doing it. Because I've found, and it's probably like this in law too, honestly, like the people that are making the most money are doing the least amount of work
Always.
because
They're
they're
managing the relationships, bringing people in and
exactly,
handing them off. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. You don't need to do $20 an hour work where you should be getting paid $200 an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
exactly.
Well, you should definitely read. So my guest this week, I think, is a woman named Betsy Pepin. She's got a real estate empire, or she might laugh if I said empire, but down in Florida, where she, had a brokerage. She was just a realtor, and then she built a
Yeah.
brokerage agency, and then a title company. She's a big strategic coach person, and if you read the book, Who Not How, that she turned me on to it. You definitely should read it. It's all about building an organization of people that support you to do the things you want to do for your clients. That look, at some point you sweep the floors, right? But you can't be doing that. It's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be 59 in December. I'm at exactly the same point you are, Melinda.
Yeah.
I got rid of my firm years ago. It's just me. I have some support people, but they're not lawyers. So, how do I and I'm dealing with the same problem. Like, I've been
Yeah.
talking to friends, and I've been dealing with how do we get to the next level to be able to work less, right? I don't know, retirement's a word, but work less and have people kind of run the engine behind the scenes and still maintain the client relationships where they want to work with you and your company. But it's a hard transition. It's a great book.
Yeah,
I
and
thank
the
Betsy
thing
for turning
that
me on to
the
it.
thing that keeps coming up for me, like as I go to women's conferences, so I speak at a lot of female entrepreneur conferences, and I've spoken all over the country. But lately, the past 6 months, every one of them that I go to, everyone always says you can't work on the business if you're in the business, and so
Correct.
that's replaying in my head every
Yeah.
single day. I'm like,
That's the
okay,
E-Myth.
God, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
stop beating me over the head with this.
Yeah. Because then you're just an employee of a company you also happen to own. You're really
Exactly.
not anything else. Yeah. E-Myth is a good one. Like, if you can literally move your office down 2 blocks from your wherever you work or wherever you work with your people, they're probably mostly remote now, but you know what I mean? Like, if you could literally
Yeah.
take a month off, would your company survive?
No.
Right. So
And
there
I
you
want
go.
to get
There's
to a
the
place
answer.
where I can do that.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know if I could do a month, but 2 weeks,
Yeah.
where you check in a little bit, make sure your inbox not growing too much, and you have people to send things to and take care of this and that. Yeah, I used to have that, and then I went a different direction. But I think it's a common problem for professionals that are in service oriented businesses, because that's what you are, right? I mean, you're taking people's information and getting them placed and getting them on shows or whatever it is you guys do. So tell me about the PR business. Like, what kind of PR do you do for your clients mostly? And is there some industries that you're working in more than others?
Yeah. So I've worked at a lot of different agencies, and I've firmly believed that I don't want to niche down too much, because when you niche down too much, your clients are competing against each other. So say I have 5 beauty brands, and an editor comes to me and they're like, I need the top one of your cleansers. Well, then I have to pick which one. If they all have a cleanser, I have to pick which one, and like that's
Right.
doing people a disservice. So I don't niche down. I think my niche mainly really is female entrepreneurs. So kind of my
Okay.
elevator pitch is I help position female founders as thought leaders. So what that looks like, that's really the personal branding that we were talking about. So for me, that's getting them traditional media. So, quotes in Forbes or in a newspaper or a radio interview, a podcast, a TV interview, a speaking gig, op-eds. That could look like helping them with influencer relations, especially if they have some kind of a product
Yeah.
or event or something. Brand partnerships. So are there other brands out there that would make sense for us to collaborate with and cross promote with and kind of
Hmm.
borrow each other's audiences, things
Yeah.
like that. And then like event support, just the typical thing. So anything that's like really public facing in that way where they're interacting with people, I can kind of help with.
Maybe you're getting your calendaring from one software and you're invoicing from another. Evenue is a platform that we use as one of our sponsors to run our entire business. And there's other features like auto payments and integrations with QuickBooks. Visit evenue.com, EVONUE.com to learn more. There's also a link in the show notes. And be sure to tell them that the Accidental Entrepreneur referred you. This podcast is brought to you by our affiliate sponsor, iEmployee. iEmployee is a virtual assistant service that hires almost anyone for any role in your company right out of the Philippines. Most roles range from $7 to $9 an hour for highly skilled and experienced VAs. And whether you need an executive assistant, social media manager, video editor, customer service, sales, you name it, they have it. We use iEmployee for our VA services, from editing and promoting the podcast to all the PR and promotion of our law firm. iEmployee acts as a virtual field supervisor on the back end with live video monitoring and reports on a daily basis with screenshots of your VA's workday, and along with complete HR and payroll duties. No more paying for overpriced and underqualified workers. There's a link in the show notes to get a 1-week free trial, and I encourage you to take advantage of it.
Trade show support, same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's funny because generally niching down increases your product in general in industries, right? But there are certain businesses, I guess I'd have the same problem, right? If you niche down too much, I start running into conflicts of interest between,
Exactly.
Clients. If every one of my clients were restaurants or whatever, I would start having conflicts of interest. So yeah, I guess you got to balance the two. And when you get,
Yeah.
but that's good category, female entrepreneurs. Funny how there's female entrepreneur. You would never have a male entrepreneur.
I know.
Conflicts.
Look,
You would be like,
guys
done.
get enough.
Right. It's just either
every
entrepreneurs
business
or female
conference is a
entrepreneurs.
male conference.
Exactly.
But
so
I mean,
funny.
I do work with males, and honestly, funny enough, I have more clients internationally than I have in North Carolina. I
do you?
find that North Carolina doesn't understand me necessarily. I'm not the sorority girl. I'm not in junior league. I'm not the typical Southern belle. I cuss a lot. I'm loud. I'm in your face. I'm blunt. I'm honest. And they don't really like that all the time. So.
That's funny. Yeah, but it doesn't matter where you're based now because of the world's changed. So you can be located anywhere.
Yeah.
How do you? So, I mean, you have a big network. But you get referred to people like overseas and around the world.
Yeah, or they just find me. A thing that happens a lot is they'll just be searching for like a United States publicist or something. Funny enough, during COVID, I got on Fiverr just to kind of help supplement my income.
Mm-hmm.
And I made more money during COVID than I've ever made because everyone wanted PR because they needed to stand out. They needed to save their business. And so even on Fiverr, just having a listing up for, I'll help you write your press release. I get so many clients from that. And I get a lot of international clients that way as well, because we'll start the conversation going. And then
it leads to more of a permanent relationship.
Yeah. But the bad thing about that is they're going on there looking for someone cheap. And I am not cheap. I charge very industry standard. And I'm like, no, girl, like you got to pay me some rent.
Yeah, that was COVID. That was different.
Yeah.
I did a lot of things that way too. But you get a cheap client, they refer you cheap clients. That's the problem. And then you can't operate because you don't cover your expenses. You don't make money.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it becomes a problem. So most curious, especially since you're in PR and marketing and branding, what kind of a footprint do you have? Like, how do you hold yourself out? I'll explain to you a little bit better. So I've had conversations with friends of mine who are lawyers, right? And they don't pay as much attention to like I do, to their website, to their postings, to their social media accounts. And they're like, well, I don't really get my business from there. And I said, yeah, but it doesn't really matter because your online presence is a reflection of who you are, because people are going to look at you, even if everybody's referred to you, right? They're still going to check you out. I mean, that's just the way it does. So how do you hold yourself out to the world on an online basis?
So I neglected that stuff for a long time.
Yeah. See?
Because I was worrying about all my client stuff. So that's another thing. I'm
Right.
too close to it almost to do it myself.
Yeah, like
So
the shoemaker with holes in their shoes, right?
literally. And I finally got one of my friends to redo all my branding, and it's very me now. But now my website, I just kind of updated myself, and it looks like a third grader did it. So we're working on my website.
Yeah, you need a who to do that. You should not be doing that. You got to be someone who's
Exactly.
removed from it. Right. Exactly.
Exactly. I'm too
Yes.
close to it. I'm
Yes.
so bad at my business social media, but I'm really good at my personal social media. So I kind of just let that shine, and I will post thought leadership on there. But I also realize for me, my audience doesn't want PR thought leadership. They want me being unhinged and silly and like real and raw and saying like, look, y'all, I have negative $2 in my bank account today, but I know all my client checks are going to hit tomorrow and I'm going to be rich and I can pay my bills. This is entrepreneurship, you know?
Yeah.
People want that. And that I've seen more people come to me and want to work with me for my personal than ever from my business.
Because they feel that
accounts.
you're a real person and honest.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
they know that I take it seriously. I know this is a big investment that they're making every month. And I used to say, I recognize this is the only extra money people have. But then I realized that's very low vibe of me to say. And that's like putting negative energy out there.
Right.
So it's a significant investment. That's what I say now.
Yeah.
And people trust me because they know I'm going to be real with them and I'm going to advocate for them and I'm going to fight for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting out there, public relation wise, getting published, going on podcasts, whatever. I mean, it's an investment. It's not a cost.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes back to you tenfold when you're out there doing all the right things. But you got to do all those right things, and you still have to do the networking, and you still got to go to events, and you still got to. I don't know if it depends on your industry whether you're doing paid for advertising or not, or whatever. Blog articles and stuff. So you do that too, right? You have copywriters and.
Oh no, I just kind of do everything
you don't do any
myself.
of that stuff?
No, I like if they need something written, I'll write it. And I also don't do any pay to play. So I pretty much only do earned media. I say that's advertising. I don't do advertising. That's on them. Like you're going to invest, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in me, and I'm going to get you as much as I can.
Exposure.
Yeah, I'm going to do as much as I can for free. That what you invest in me is the only investment.
Yeah. So do you find that a lot of your clients who are using you are also doing advertising separately through like an ad agency or advertising people, or they don't really need that when they're doing a lot of the PR stuff?
I think a lot of them have stopped because they've realized it can be just a huge waste.
Right.
And especially if, like I even have a retainer that is podcast pitching only, and it's $1,500 a month. And I'm averaging 30 to 40 podcast requests a month per client. So they're like, well, holy shit, like why am I dumping that much money in Facebook ads when Melinda can get me on these podcasts? And then I use that as social proof. I use it as content.
Yeah.
And I'm actually getting in front of people.
Right. And nowadays you can take the transcripts and drop it in AI and ask AI to create an article for you. And there's always great content.
And I do that for clients too. Like if a client doesn't have time, I'll take their podcast transcripts and I'm like, okay, formulate this. Let's update their talking points because what they said on here was so good. So I use that a ton. And also to like really drive this all home, I do a whole presentation on the importance of podcasts and how to get on podcasts. But one thing I kind of realized when I was building it out is if you're on your local TV station, you maybe are going to get 1.5 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes if you're lucky on that segment.
Right.
People are only going to see it if they're sitting in front of that TV. It may or may not play in the 5 o'clock hour. It may or may not play again, and it may or may not be put online. But if you're on a podcast, you're in someone's ears for 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes to an hour while they're washing dishes, while they're at the gym. You're in their brain while they're living their life. So the next time they get on the treadmill or wash their dishes, they're going to think, I need to look up that Melinda girl. I totally forgot to look her up. And it's there.
Right.
It's like science,
Right. And it's there, and it's forever content.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can do so much with it nowadays. I don't do any paid for advertising. Everything I do is, the most I do is Google reviews when I finish for a client matter. But between the podcast and the content and blog articles, and you just keep putting out content because if people read that stuff, they digest it. And you're right. But like if I'm on a local, I think I was on some local TV show a while back talking about whatever planning or, taxes or whatever. I guess it's out there. I have no idea. It's
Yeah.
just, it was a big
But
fanfare at the time. Nothing really, whatever.
yeah, but it's still good to do those things because people
Yeah.
have to see it so
To
many
fill
times.
in.
Like
Right.
when I was in college, I think the stat was, somebody has to see it 5 to 7 times. Now I think it's up to like 30 because of social media and our like attention spans.
Yeah,
So people
that's
really
true.
do have to see you multiple times in multiple ways to buy into you.
All right. So let's talk more about branding, right? Because we know that's important, especially you mentioned personal versus you actually neglect your business a little bit. You do more personal because it leads to
Yeah.
more things. So if I'm a small business owner, I'm just getting started, even maybe I'm a local person, how do I start to build my personal brand? Because I think that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that for most small business owners, the brand of their company has a lot less impact. They're not Lululemon, right? Where they're starting they want to start a fashion brand, unless they are. But, right? So I think that it's much more important who we are as people, like you said before. How do we start with that? I'm, opening the doors. Nobody knows me. I mean, I guess people know me. Well, what do I start with? What do I do?
So I think the number one thing I tell people is figure out who your audience is. So automatically everyone wants to say, I'm for everyone. You're
Right.
not for everyone.
That's a bad
McDonald's
idea.
isn't even for everyone.
Right.
You can distill it down, even if it's like, okay, we're just for women. Okay, great. That's a start. So you
Yeah.
have to really distill it down. Who is your audience? What are they consuming? Like what media are they consuming? What's their pain points?
It's
How
like,
do
how do
I
you
solve
reach
their
them? Right. Is that what you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you reach them? Like, so let's say my core audience is female founders. Okay. So female founders making 6 figures that want to scale to 7. Okay, great. That distills it down pretty good. So what media are they consuming? Well, they're probably on Instagram. They listen to podcasts. They might be on TikTok. They like Substack. Okay, great. Make sure I'm on all of those things. Then are they going to conferences? What conferences are they going to? How can I show up at those conferences? How can I submit myself to speak at those conferences? And once I get in the door, what do I have to offer them?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell them how to do their own PR if they don't have the budget for PR. I
Right.
can tell them how to figure out their personal brand like I'm doing right now. Or I can say, hey, if you don't want to do any of it yourself, I got you. I'm here. Let me walk through this with you. So figuring out the audience and what their pain points are and how you can help those helps a ton because then that's going to get you to your talking points.
Right.
So then you have what are your core talking points, your core messaging that you can always go back to. So that's going to be a little bit different from your business. So yes, your business, you have those like I do X, Y, and Z. These are the problems we solve. But then your personal is going to be more of the founder story. And this is why I am passionate about this. Like I started my own company because I was sick of working for agencies and watching my clients get lost. I want to work one-on-one with my clients because I understand it's a significant investment that they're making. Done. That's my why. So once you figure out those things, all of your personal brand can point back to it. And then all of your regular brand, your business brand can point back to those talking points that you've kind of figured out.
But
Does
it's
that
all
all
one
kind of make sense?
website, let's say, right? You're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
setting up a separate thing.
So no, you don't have to set up separate websites, but it's really good to figure out okay, what's your business talking points,
Yeah.
your business branding, and then your personal as well. And there will be some overlapping, but the personal is more of the why. Like this is why I
Right.
started this. This is why I'm passionate about it. And then you can sprinkle in some of that fun stuff too, like oh, I was a college cheerleader, or I really love to go to national
Yeah. Make
parks.
you human. Things like that.
Yes, those kinds of things, because those are important to pivot to when maybe you're not getting the reaction that you want from your brand, your business brand. So then you can lean on those things. So an example I always use is I used to do a lot of jazz PR, and we had a
Uh-huh.
jazz client, and he was not getting anything. We could not get him a
Like a
response
musician.
guide.
He was a jazz
Yeah,
musician.
he was a jazz saxophonist. We
Oh,
could
very
not
cool.
get him anything. But then
Why?
we realized nobody just wanted him. I don't know. It was just one of those things. He just wasn't well known enough yet.
Okay.
So then we realized that he was doing long distance cycle rides while he was on tour. So if he goes on tour in Europe, he's doing long distance biking. If he's on tour in the States, he's doing long distance biking. So then we went to Cycle Media and we were like, here's this jazz musician that this is a core part of his tour. Then we
Right.
were able to get him some
Yeah, because
press.
people
So
related to him who were those
ex-
people, right?
exactly. And
Found
that's
an
more the
audience.
personal brand
Yeah.
than
Mm-hmm.
the business.
I was just going to answer your question. Then you brought up the cycle guy.
Sorry.
That's okay. The, I was going to ask you a question about when you are, specific to I know what it was. You brought up before about, um, giving information away, like I find it's funny. I find that people seem to be hesitant to like teach their audience that they're trying to reach about what they do. And at the end of the day, first of all, if their people can't afford it, fine. You want to help them and whatever. But if what you tell them works and is good, they're eventually going to hire you anyway, because they're going to I don't want to do this anymore. If everything's going
Exactly.
well. So maybe you want to have some more comments about that, because I find, especially in the law, forget about it. I have colleagues who are like, well, why would I write an article about that? They could just go do it themselves. I'm like, do you think the people that are doing business with you are going to go
They
and do it
can't.
themselves? Of course
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
No, they can't do it. They're going to get overwhelmed. And that's my
Right.
standpoint.
Exactly.
I don't mind helping people. It does not hurt me to help people. I would rather tell somebody how to do my job and let them run with it. And then once they start getting a lot of
They're gonna hit
press
a
and they
brick
get
wall.
excited, they're going to
Right.
come back.
Right.
Or they're going to pay me for another consulting call.
Yeah, because they're going to get
regardless.
frustrated and they're like, Melinda, this isn't working.
Exactly.
They're like, well, you got to do this, right.
Exactly. I do not mind like spilling the secret sauce, because if they have success with it, wonderful. Like, I know that I still did that because I taught them how to do it. So
Right.
I offer VIP days, and on those I literally teach business owners how to do their own PR. So I walk them through their messaging. We come up with their messaging, their pitches.
Nice.
I pull media lists for them. I do a 90-day press plan for them, so they can just like plug and play and like copy, paste, send. And I would so much rather do that for people and still make a little bit of money than not help anybody at all.
How do you deal with the graphic design part of it? Like, so somebody comes to you to do PR and you're like, this stuff just doesn't really like resonate. Do you have a joint relationship? Do you go, hey, listen, I'm going to have Bob come in here and he's going to.
Yeah. So I have a great agency that it's like a sister agency that I work with. So I can pull them in. They've pulled me in for the opposite, where they had a client that needed PR. So I've kind of done it. Or I'm just like, look, you got to figure it out. Because some people might already have somebody that graphic designs.
Right, which is fine. You're not a graphic designer. You don't want to do it, right? But yeah.
But I will be like, this does not work. And this is why it's not working. Like, you're confusing people with your branding. And that's another thing that I always tell people. Be so consistent in your branding and your messaging, or else you're confusing everybody. Even if it's as simple as making sure your logo is consistent across the board.
Colors, look, and it looks the same. Yeah, you ever find something like that? They have like 14 logos, and you're like, I don't get it. Oh my
God, I know.
They're just playing around with stuff. I know, it's not. Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I find that people from a marketing and PR standpoint, they like do things, if they're not working with a professional like you, they do things like ad hoc. You know what I mean? Yeah. They'll say, oh yeah, I used to do that. And if I do that, I get a lot of business from it. And I go, yeah, but that's not a strategy. It's like, that's like a throw-in. There's nothing cohesive about what they're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. I see that all the time. And if you are that willy-nilly with everything, no one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah, they get the same message from you, right?
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't hurt to even just ask ChatGPT, can you help me be consistent with this? Can you help me make everything make sense?
Right.
But it has to be cohesive.
Right. Because they just don't get it. I also find that, people they'll say to you, well, I'll do that. I'll put money into that or whatever. I mean, if I make the money back one time, I get one new client, it pays it for itself. I go, yeah, but that discounts the alternative where you're getting 10 clients, 20 clients, 50 clients.
But
you
also
can't use that criteria, and people do.
It never happens. Right. I've tried stuff like that. It never happens. You never get that client. No. Literally ever.
Right. Exactly. But it's like a bad barometer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're getting somebody that's going to give you $500 when your fee is $5,000,
Right, which is what it should be. Yeah, I also find that's another problem, is that people don't. I think that if you're sending out a consistent message to the world, right, and you're branding, you're putting out the right public relations and things like that, then in your mind you're more comfortable with charging the right fee and structuring your fees. I see professionals. I'm not just going to zero in on attorneys. I see professionals all the time that undervalue the services that they're bringing. And part of it is because their message is not even clear in their own head, let alone to the rest of the world. So they're like, how can I justify, like you said, $5,000? I have minimum fees that I do not get out of bed for, not because I'm whatever. I just don't want to work. Like if somebody wants to pay somebody a couple $100 to do whatever it is, great. I don't want to do that because then I'm just, like you said, I'm servicing the bottom of the pyramid, the people that are trying to claw their way up, which is fine. And you can help people along the way. And I'm always happy to do that. But then you're building a client base like that.
Yeah.
Right. And then how do you get them to the price point you want them to be at when they weren't there before in their own mind or can't afford it or, whatever. I used to have this section on my website where you could, like if you're a young couple, let's say, and you needed a will, or you're a small business owner, you need a basic business agreement, you could go and for a tremendous discount, you could put data in and it would merge it with my documents and they wouldn't get it, but I would get it, review it, send it to them with signing instructions. The whole thing was like a discounted way. But after a while, I started realizing that was the clients that I was attracting. Like I was bringing those people in, and then who do you refer? You refer somebody who has the same problem to me.
Exactly.
So I got rid of it.
I do the same thing, and I have to fight with myself all the time about it. Like I can't continue to discount my services because it's hurting the industry as a whole. You always see these things. It's like
both.
when you discount your service, it fucks the whole industry.
Right.
But also I've been in PR for 15 years. I have a Grammy and an Emmy. I should be charging more.
Correct.
And it's okay to charge more. And when I charge more, I will find those clients that will pay for it.
Of course. The days when you started was the days where you charge little. I had a guy, I did wills. I was working on wills from him like 15 years ago, and then he disappeared. I don't know what happened with his life or whatever. 12 years later, he comes back to me. And he's like, listen, I really need to do that. So I go, all right, well, obviously I'm not even in the same firm. I sent him a retainer letter. He goes, oh, it's going to be that much money? I go, dude, this was 12 years ago. What are you talking
Inflation.
about? I don't think I even did the work for him. I think he was just like sticker shock. I have no idea. Can't remember. But yeah, I think that people got to you got to keep up with your fees, right? You raise your fees every year. It doesn't have to double, but my costs go up. Your costs went up,
Well, another thing I realized is I was trying to charge everyone $2,000 a month for a retainer. And I would say, oh, that's just industry standard. Sorry, my dog is here now. This is Ollie, everyone.
Oh, cute.
He is awake. But I would say, oh, it's industry standard. But I'm like, that was industry standard when I was in LA 10 years ago. What am I doing?
Right.
So I have to raise those rates.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've done the same thing. I get colleagues are like, I listened to you. I raised my rates by whatever, $25 an hour, $50. I feel so much better. My clients didn't even blink.
No,
Some of them said, where have you been? How come you haven't raised your rates in 10 years?
Yeah.
I have guys I work with, people I work with. I'm like, you know what? And you say that Melinda's great at what she does and she doesn't charge enough. Mm-hmm. Like that's not something you want people to be saying about, that's the referral, right?
I want them to be like, it's a lot of money, but she's worth it. That's what I need. That's what I need to go into 2026 with.
Right. Yeah. You want the people that are willing to invest and they'll get bigger returns on what they're getting. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody pays you $500 to do something, they should be paying you $5,000. What are they really going to get in terms of your time? And it's just, it's realistic, right? In terms of what it does. So we can get back to branding a little bit, but what does the future hold for you? Like, what are your own strategic plans going forward for the next, let's say 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm bringing on somebody to do business development, and I want to get to a place where my income is more so I can get investment properties. It's something that my parents do. I want to do it as well.
Outside. Okay.
Yeah. I want to, diversify my income a little bit, and then just have everything so it's like, for lack of a better term, on autopilot, where everything is just cruising along. Because
you
PR,
can focus on the big things, like you said.
Exactly. And PR is hard because PR and marketing are always the first things to go when the economy's down. And right now, we're seeing that. I've talked to a lot of agency owners, and they're all like, I am scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find clients right now. And so a lot of us are discounting our fees or offering, different consulting calls. Like I just sent out an email yesterday, like, hey, for the month of November, I'll offer 50% off my consulting calls, just to try to get some momentum going. But it's hard right now. So I would love to try to grow my income so I can invest, and call in those clients that I don't have to email every day for. I can just really consult and help them with the higher level creative stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that's certainly ambitious. I think it's hard for everybody, right? You just got to keep trugging along, and maybe I have to, meet more people in order to get the clients that I want to get, and do that kind of stuff. Because a lot of clients I have are like business owners, and they're on retainer too, for the same
Yeah.
reason that I can't send them a bill every time I talk for 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. So eventually I say, listen, we're going to put you on a retainer. It's going to cover calls and emails and general consults. If I do work, it'll be at a discount, but and it keeps my cash flow going, and it's less headache for me. And you don't be getting these bills and saying, well, Melinda, what the hell is this? We spent 20 minutes on this. You're like, yeah, remember, we spent 40 minutes on it, but I only billed you 20, and you're always justifying what you do. So what's the best way for people to like connect with you and learn from you and start to get involved, besides going to female entrepreneur conferences where you're speaking?
Yeah.
I can't go, but.
Well, I host a Raleigh Female Founder Happy Hour. You're more than welcome to come anytime
Okay.
you want. We have about 300 women total that have attended. So, but no, I'm at melindajacksonpr.com. You can find me there. I'm Melinda Jackson PR all over the internet. I have a podcast I just started called Unhinged Founder.
Okay. Unhinged Founder?
Unhinged Founder. So right now it's been a lot of female founders, but we're going to get some guys on there, I promise. But I just interview my friends that also own businesses, and we talk a lot about why it sucks. And just
well, if
crazy
you ever
stories.
want an advisor, I'm a business owner, but I'm professional. I'm always available. I do a lot of podcast guesting.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I'm all over the internet, Melinda Jackson. I do consulting calls if somebody wants. I can do VIP days, like I said, or full on retainer work. I want to make it accessible for people, because PR shouldn't be gate kept. I'm literally sending emails all day, every day. Like I'm not curing cancer. So I don't mind helping people.
Right. Absolutely. Do you find that people, like they got to produce content, right? You got to put content out there from a PR standpoint. So how are people producing that stuff? Especially if it's like in the law field, I can't have my VA write a law article.
Yeah.
Should they be using, you see people using ChatGPT? Is there another service?
Yeah. So I suggest people like build their own GPT within ChatGPT. So it has
A
all
lot
their
of people don't know
messaging,
you
all their
can do
talking
that.
points. Oh
Yeah, a lot
yeah.
of people don't
And
do
I
that.
build them for each of my clients, which is a lifesaver, because I will write all the messaging and everything, and then I dump it in there, and then I'll dump podcast transcripts. And anytime they do an interview, I dump it in there. Or anytime we change something, I dump it in there. And then it's just like my second brain. So I can quickly go in and say, okay, I'm going to pitch them for this podcast. What talking point should I bring up? That kind of thing.
So like the GPT is already trained for that particular client.
Yeah. So use ChatGPT. There's plenty of copywriters out there that you can use. You can get people for cheap, but you can do it yourself. Do it ChatGPT if you struggle with that. But I'm really seeing so many people do more long form content on things like Substack, and that is where traditional media is going to go. I think as outlets are folding, we're going to see a lot of that more like user generated content from things like chat or from things like Substack.
Yeah. So explain what Substack is for people listening.
It's literally just like a blogging platform. And it's like a hybrid of a blog / newsletter / message board.
So you set up your own Substack.
Yeah, you set it up, and you can charge subscribers as well. So I have a couple. I think I have like 5 paid subscribers and like 100 and something free subscribers.
Nice.
But I'll do a mixture of content on there. I dump all my podcast content on there as well. But yeah, I think it's great. And that'll help you with that thought leadership and have more long form content. So if you're pitching yourself to podcast or for an op-ed or something like that, you can say, okay, here's a couple articles I wrote.
Yeah. Now, people definitely should not discount guesting on podcasts. Everyone's looking for guests. You can always find the genre in which you work, your industry, whatever. I think we met through Podmatch, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Podmatch is
another thing I tell people to do is go on Threads. Threads is great for finding podcasts. Like literally just search like need podcast guest. I've booked people on my podcast from Threads. I've gotten booked on podcasts from Threads.
Isn't Threads part of Instagram or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instagram,
Threads.
yeah.
Okay. And Reels is the other one. That's like TikTok of
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, all good advice. I think people listening should be getting. It's a content game. Like get
Oh
content
yeah.
there. I also got connected by a company like TMX Messenger or something. She used to work in news, and they got all these. I mean, I'm getting emails like every day and topics that like don't even apply to me. So I don't know what happened, but I had a call with her. Said we'll put you in the system, and then I get like requests from journalists that need to interview people
Oh
on
yeah.
different topics. But I think it's not that refined where it should only be sending me things that are relevant to me. And I'm just like deleting this stuff. But yeah, there's stuff out there, I guess, like that too, right?
Yeah. There's Haro, there's SOS, there's a couple of those that
Oh,
I
Haro, I
subscribe
see
to.
those too. Yeah, I get those
Yeah,
too.
I subscribe to those for my clients as well.
Yeah, as well. All right. Well, Melinda, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with me. People should check out As You Grow, Unhinged Founder Podcast. I assume it's on all the directories, right?
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
as
it's
well.
everywhere.
Got it. And yeah, I mean, I love the advice. That's what's so great about podcasts. And that's why you're doing a show, right? Just good conversations, discussions with people that can maybe drive home the things that they should be doing. Maybe we can like lower that failure rate
Exactly.
that happens within 5 years of, and the other ones that struggle. I mean, if you add those in, it's probably much higher. So yeah, absolutely no fun. So you got to have fun. You got to enjoy what you're doing, work hard, but do well. And definitely check out that book I mentioned.
Oh yeah, I wrote it down.
Who Not How. Yeah, absolutely. Thank Betsy Pepin for that. All right. So I can't thank you enough on what is it, Friday morning?
Friday.
I don't know what the weather's like down there, but here it's actually sunny in New Jersey, which is good. And for all those people stranded in airports around the country because we're having shutdowns and stuff, I hope you get home. So I can't thank you enough, Melinda.
Thank you. Bye.
In addition to being a podcast host, I'm also a small business attorney, mostly providing legal services in New York and New Jersey. With over 3 decades of experience, we can handle most transactional issues. So if you're watching the show and you encounter some sort of legal issue, reach out to us and visit our website, mindhackerlaw.com. Thanks for tuning into the show and for continuing to support us.